I've got a scene that I've used before here, so you can just see if I render it out. That's the sort of thing we're looking at. And I'm using the default view here, so if I rotate around, I can choose a different view and render that out. So wherever I go, it renders it out. But unfortunately, when I come to render an animation, that's not going to happen. So what we need to do is set this view that we've got now as a camera. And all we do is within the actual animation panel here, we go View, Create Camera from View, and it's now created the camera. So if I go into Quad View, there we should see somewhere in our scene, up here somewhere, there it is. Let me zoom in on it. From the view that we had before, it's created this camera that's up here. Okay, so when we come to render stuff out, as long as we and if we come up to view and select camera, it will select the camera over here. If we had other cameras available, we could choose it through there. If we'd added more than one camera to a scene, for instance. And you can see what you've got here then is a load of controls. And if you know anything about photography, you'll know what a lot of these do. So depth of field will determine how much of the picture is in focus when you render it out. We can come all the way down through these set settings. If you know anything about photography, you can have a good play with these things. If we change the angle of view, you can see the viewport changes there, and you'll know that in the case of animation, anything below 35, so anything from like 20 to 35 gives you quite a narrow field of view. You can come up to the focal length, which is related to this, and that lets you work in, if you've used lens sizes before, you'll know that you can a higher number is a zoom lens and a lower number is a wide angle lens. So something on 20-25 is often used by photographers for a landscape. So if you were rendering out a scene that was a landscape, you would probably set your focal length to something on 25. If you want to zoom in on some detail, you'd probably ramp it up to about 150 at the most. Okay, so lots of options there for the camera. Now, one of the things we can also do is, because we're in the scene here, I've got the move tool selected, is I can move the camera around. So let me just take that down to something like 25. So you can see I can move this with the arrows now, and I can rotate it just like we would any other object. And you can see it's all right. We can move stuff, but it's a bit of a faff moving stuff. Okay, so what we might do, oh, missed it. So what we might do instead is, let's undo a few of these steps. So we've got no camera. So I'm just going to go back to I've got no camera. And we're going to put a different type of camera into the scene. Okay, so I'm back to my basic scene. So I can come over to my view, predefined bookmark perspective, and that's basically where we started. Now what I can also do is I can add a different type of camera to the scene, and one that's a bit easier to control. So if I go to create camera and aim, you'll see it puts a camera in, and the camera has like a little target that comes out of it. You'll see wherever I move the target, the camera follows. Now, so far as it looks on the screen, it doesn't look any different, but here's the thing. If we go to Windows and our old friendly outliner, let's just shrink this down so it's over here somewhere, and you'll see here's the camera that we just put in, and it's part of a group. So if I, instead of having both of them, if I just select the camera aim, the camera now follows whatever that is pointing at. Okay, so the camera, sorry, I should say the camera points wherever this little node goes. So you can see it in all these different views here, depending on where you put it. So what we could do is we could say put the node on that sphere there, and then we could middle click on camera aim, drag it up to sphere, then that's now linked to the sphere. So wherever the sphere goes, the camera follows. So different ways of doing stuff. Now if we wanted to see what this looks like from the viewport here, we can go to panels, and with the camera selected, so just select the camera, panels, look through selected, and we can actually see what the camera is seeing. We can see the viewfinder now. So we can come to one of these other ones, get the move tool, and we see that the camera now follows wherever it goes, the ball, the sphere. So that's just a few little tricks you can do with the camera to make your work a bit more interesting. One thing you do need to do is whatever you've got this main window at is the view that will be rendered out at the end if you don't change the settings, which I wouldn't recommend you do. So at the end, when you come to render out, you'll see down here there's an option. Renderable camera is perspective. I would just leave it at that and choose whatever your camera is in this window. So whatever that rendered window looks like is what will get rendered out. And that basically is an overview of cameras in Maya. It's really just a case of having a play. And remember, you can put more than one in a scene to make life easy for yourself. So you can make one scene and have multiple cameras. So have a play with cameras.